Good evening, morning, afternoon, night, tomorrow, whatever time zone you're watching this in.
Whatever.
Yeah, happy day, night. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to a Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. It's the playoffs. The regular season's over. 162 games. We did it, Cal.
We
How are you
did.
feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
Spring training's going to be exciting. Looking forward to that.
We'll get into that a little bit later. 162 games are over. We are recording this on the Monday before the Wildcard series commences. So this is naturally going to be a wildcard prediction, wildcard rundown episode with a little bit of magic in between, but we'll get onto that later. But as always, we're going to start. Boo's taking the week off, a little bit of annual leave for the girl. So this week we've got Cal's hot takes. So Cal, I believe you have 3 hot takes for us to discuss.
I do. And I know, so prior to this, I asked how much of it could be based around free agency, because with the Giants kind of ending disappointing, I started looking ahead a bit preemptively. And so don't worry, only 2 of them are free agents based.
Okay.
My first one is based off of not really. I don't watch any Reds games. I don't know what they're doing, but there's been a distinct lack of Ellie De La Cruz from the start of the season, of MLB kind of shoving him down our throats to, now where I haven't seen anything in a long time. So my hot take for the first is in 2026, Ellie continues to be underwhelming.
I'm going to put that as medium. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. He was shoved down our throats. He's on the cover of MLB The Show, along with Paul Skeens, and I'm going to forget the third person. Who else is on?
Was it not Gunnar Henderson?
It was Gunnar Henderson. Okay, so 2 of the 3 have basically been a bit underwhelming this year. But Ellie was supposedly this next superstar, and he's just been all right. I mean, he's got 22 home runs, 86 RBIs, 37 stolen bases. Obviously, the stolen bases are quite good. But there's an error in there on the fielding. So I think it's medium, because it can go one of 2 ways. If he has another season like he had this year, are we calling that underwhelming, or are we calling that the norm? I guess is the key question. But I'm going to say medium. I don't think he's been great. I think Reds expected a whole lot better. But I think the Reds are only really in the postseason because their rotation's been nails. But again, we'll get into that a little bit later. So I'm going to go medium.
Yeah, nice. Fair enough. I agree. I think maybe, if he continues to not start super hot, maybe send him down for a little bit, get that confidence back, because when he came up the first time last year, he was just playing out of his skin. It was fantastic. And so, it's there, but I guess it's maybe a bit complacency, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't watch any Reds games because I don't have time, realistically, and also I don't want to. Speaking of people not wanting to do things, your next hot take is Kyle Schwarber does not stay in Philadelphia and does not re-sign with the Phillies.
First of all, I just want to say these are 2 great hot takes so far. You are 2 for 2. I mean, but obviously you've been taking Boo's classes.
Yeah, been going on walks and stuff,
Yeah.
spending some time together.
Fabulous hot takes. I'm sure you discussed Kyle Schwarber's impending free agency at length. I think it's a mild take, though, because I don't think he's going to be staying with Philadelphia. If you ask me where do I think he's going, I couldn't tell you. I have absolutely no idea. There's only a few places he wouldn't go. I can't see him going to the Mariners. I can't see him going to the Yankees. I can't see him going to the Dodgers, and that's purely because of the in situ people that they have there. You could probably rule out the Giants as well. But he could go anywhere else and get 40 bombs. He could stay with Philadelphia. I think if he was gonna, he would have re-signed. I think it's too big of a player to let go into free agency, and there were probably some contract talks on the table. That obviously haven't gone anywhere. So I'm going to go mild. If I was going to predict where he's going to go, that's things they've got to be able to spend money, so it rules out most of the franchises and all of Florida. Houston.
Houston would be good. I'd see him in orange.
Yeah, Let him join the bin boys down in Houston. Fuck it, why not?
I
Astros.
like it. I think it could be playoff dependent. Like if the Phillies win the World Series, then I think there's a very high chance. But otherwise, I think he's maybe thinking of going and being the top dog somewhere else.
Mm.
You know, maybe the Tigers. That could be cool.
Ooh,
Make the
that's a fun
Tigers real good. Your third hot take is Alonso goes reverse Soto and joins the Yankees.
Oh, see, I don't know where to place this because there is a need there for the
Mhm.
Yankees for a power hitting first baseman because Goldschmidt's, don't know how many years he signed, but he's about 47. So he won't be around much longer. And they've got Ben Rice, but I think Ben Rice will ultimately become a catcher. That's a real good one. And they've got Bellinger that can play there. But there is a positional need there. On the flip side, Pete Alonso says he loves the Mets. I don't believe him because if you did, you'd stay with the Mets.
Yeah, he
So,
wouldn't have opted out of his contract.
yeah. Oh God, I'm going to go hot just because I can't see him doing that to the Mets. But I do see the need there, and I see the logic. I think it's a very again. You're 3 for 3 on hot takes.
Hell yeah, love to see it. Maybe you could see a little bit of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. moving over to third base. Pete
Ooh.
Alonso playing first base for the Toronto Blue Jays.
What happens to Addison Barger?
Right field.
Oh, well, no, all is good with the world then.
Yeah, Anthony Santander, if he decides to show up again, he can DH.
Then they've got a really, really good team up there in Toronto, haven't they? They are low key, like sneaky good.
Yeah, I think. Hey man, it's on the Instagram. I think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna go the whole way. I like them.
I respect it. So 3 fantastic hot takes. Maybe you should take over the hot takes.
No, I can't do that to Boo. I know how much she looks forward to it each week.
You know, she looks forward to it so much she's taken the rest of October off as well. Fucking annual leave through the wazoo. She might be back. Who knows? I'd like to say I can ask her, but she's not currently. Is she? No, she's not in the room with me. For those of you not watching on YouTube, I just turn around because sometimes she's behind me, sort of producing and executive producer. But she's not there at the moment. Perfect. Those were Cal's hot takes. If you've got any hot takes you want us to discuss throughout the playoff, October baseball, let us know. The idea is we're going to be doing an episode prior to each round of the playoffs, depending on our availability. So we've got the Wildcard, Divisional, Championship, and World Series. But we're going to have a lot of fun in the off-season. I know that bunch.
Yeah,
So
lots of games.
We've got so many games. We've got Family Fortunes coming up.
I'm scared.
Once I've got 100 people to answer my survey. So if you are listening to this and you've not answered it yet, respond to the ad. I think we're up to about 70 odd. So we're gonna preview the Wildcard Series matchups because the Wildcard Round starts tomorrow. And for once, the games are actually quite nicely timed for UK fans. So I think the order at 1 o'clock, the Guardians and the Tigers go in the AL Wildcard. That 7 o'clock UK time. I think at 9 o'clock UK time, it's the Cubs and the Padres. Probably, I think it's 2 hours later. 11 o'clock will be the Yankees and the Red Sox, which is probably the matchup of the Wildcard Round. And we end the day over in Los Angeles. Dodgers play the Reds. Don't really care. So we're going to preview. We're going to split this in half. We're going to preview the National League side of the Wildcard Round, and then we're going to preview the American League. So we're going to start with the Cubs and the Padres because I want to win with the Dodgers because a little fun game for Cal at the end of that segment. So the Cubs have got the 4 seed, the Padres have got the 5 seed. They finished 3 games up on each other. In my eyes, this is the most evenly matched series out of the 4 because I don't know much about the Guardians and the Tigers, so that one might be. So I guess the first prediction is we both predicted on the Instagram that went up earlier today, being the Monday, the 29th of September, who's going to win the series, and we are split on it. I have gone for the Cubs, unsurprisingly, and Cal has gone for the Padres. So, Cal, why are the Padres going to win the wildcard matchup?
I don't know. I just fancy them. They're playing all right, but they're a team that gets motivated quite quickly, and they've never really looked bad all season. I think, it's been a little bit of a playoffs have been guaranteed for them for a few weeks. So it's a little bit of rest and recovery and looking forward and nothing silly here, boys. I don't know. I just think the team's too good. I think they play good baseball. I think they got some absolute killers on their lineup and in their rotation. I think they're probably they can't be the best team because of that other one, but like aside from the bad guys, I think they have the best team in the National League side of the playoffs.
That's fair. I mean, we'll discuss the hitters first. They haven't really got. I mean, Manu Machado's had a good year, as he tends to. But other than that, Tatis has been okay. Gavin Sheets has been fine. Jackson Merrill's had a bit of a sophomore slump compared to last year. So if I was them, I'd be worried about even Luis Arias finished with a batting average of less than 300 for the first time in 62 years.
Weird.
It seemed. I think Trey Turner won the National League batting crown with a batting. It's the lowest batting average for like 20 years. Has won the because batting average doesn't mean anything. So there's not really a. I mean, Machado. Okay, Tatis has got 25 home runs. Fine. Outside of them two, there's not much there. Sheets is a good lefty masher, but plays like subpar defense. Ex White Sox. So I'm confident on the Cubs. I just think there's a better team on paper. We'll go into the rotations in a second and the bullpen because that's a slightly different story. But I think on the positional side, Wrigley Field has played really bad this year for hitters. It seems like every time someone lamps it in any other ballpark, it's a home run. But that wind just blowing in means it falls into Pete Armstrong's glove or Ian Happ's glove. I'd say Suzuki's glove, but he's not a very good fielder. So it doesn't go out the ballpark with Seiya Suzuki. And I just think on the positional side, the Cubs are just a better team. I think from 1 to 9, even someone like Matt Shaw, who, was okay, then poor, then had a real hot streak in the second half. He can hit a ball. You got Tucker back, fully fit, maybe not. He'll DH. Suzuki's found life in the last week of the season. He's got about 17 home runs in 3 games. Yeah, I'm excited for this series. I think I'm going to watch it because it's the Cubs, but I'm very, very high on the Cubs. What I'm not so high on is the projected rotations for the two. So the Padres have said they're going to bring their entire starting rotation to the Wildcard Series for the Cubs. So that makes up Nick Pivetta, Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease. I'm going to forget the other 2 guys' name. There's Randy Sanchez, Vasquez.
Michael King? Is he still
Michael King. Michael King's the 5th one, yeah. I think Pivetta is going to be getting the ball in the first game. I think it's going to be Dylan Cease or Michael King will get game 2. And then game 3 will probably be a combination of, I think it will be either Cease or King, whichever one doesn't get number 2. That's quite a strong rotation.
Yeah. And having Yu Darvish available is nasty work for anybody.
Yeah, how many pitches that guy has is fucking 30 different pitches, Yu Darvish.
Something offensive to the rest of mankind, yeah.
Yeah, they are missing Matt Waldron, who's out injured. Only highlighting him because he throws knuckleballs as his primary pitch, and I love watching knuckleballs. But yeah, I mean, Nick Pivetta has got a sub-3 ERA, kind of out of nowhere, has been like quietly very, very good for them. Dylan Cease has not had as good a year in comparison. Michael King, I think, has been injured part of the year, but again, he's got a 3.44 ERA. Compare that to the Cubs, and you've got Matthew Boyd, who has thrown the most innings in his career since 2019, and the last month and a half show that. You've got Shota Imanaga, who, if the wind is blowing in, will probably give up 1 home run across 7 innings. If the wind's blowing out, we might as well just start Javier Assad or someone. And our third starter, I mean, we would have had Cade Horton going in the first game, but he's out with a dislocated rib until the end of the divisional series. So it's probably going to be Jameson Taillon, who has been quietly decent since he's come back off injury. But I think the rotation for the Padres just sounds nastier. And as you said, if you've got Yu Darvish in your bullpen, who can probably go 3-4 innings and just throw the kitchen sink at you, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game this series.
And their bullpen started off well and finished well throughout the season. Just the Padres bullpen was just ungodly throughout the whole year.
Yeah,
Like, I just think to me, it's a team that's built for playoff baseball. Like, you need 2 wins, they go get you 2 wins.
yeah. I think well, especially after trading for Mason Miller, who has got an ERA of 0.77 on the year, which is ridiculous.
It helps
I
when you
don't.
only pitch 1.5 innings every few days.
That's true, but then they were talking. I saw an article earlier, and it was like the starters have only got to give them 5 innings, because then you go to a bullpen. You've got Jeremiah Estrada, who is an ex-Cub, who wasn't great for us and has been fantastic for them. Robert Suarez, who is their closer, sub-3 ERA. You've got Mason Miller, and there's one other name, but I'm looking at the pitching list. I can't remember who the other name is. Jason Adam, maybe. He's quite good. Sub-2 ERA. No, sorry. Jason Adams is injured. It's Adrian Morhon, who has appeared in 75 games, has a win-loss record of 13-6 as a reliever.
Fucking, there you go.
So compare that to the Cubs bullpen, which is just Brad Keller and vibes. We could be in trouble. We need the positional players to hit. Do you see either team sweeping the series, or do you see it coming down? Do you see it going to a game 3?
No, I reckon a game 3 is in there, unless like errors permitting. If there isn't like an absolute clanger that just kind of the game spirals out from there, overthrow to first base into right field, they score 2 kind of thing. Yeah, I could see it being 3 games. I think like both teams are very good. Both teams are capable of winning. I think both teams will. But just ultimately, I think that the Padres kind of have just a little bit more experience in the lineup for me of kind of October baseball. They did really well last year as well. I think they were unlucky to lose to the Dodgers. I would say that, but like they played really, really well. And I think there's a little bit of revenge coming for the rest of baseball to make it to the World Series.
I hope not, but we'll see. It has to pass through Wrigley Field, and the winner of that series will likely play the Brewers if the seedings go that way. Let us know who you think is going to take that series. We'll post this episode on the day of the Wildcard series. It'll be out tomorrow morning or afternoon, or again, we'll get into time zones later. But for me, this is the most even matchup between the teams. I think you've got the better positional side with the Cubs playing off against the better rotation and by far the better bullpen in the Padres. If the wind, I think the deciding factor is actually going to be the wind. If the wind is howling in, the Cubs starters are not going to give up home runs. They'll play small ball. They'll play that park better than the Padres will. And home field advantage to me never really is a thing unless you're a West Coast team. I think East Coast and Central kind of, 1 hour difference. Rockies kind of are their own thing in life. Padres coming over to the Cubs, there might be a little bit of jet lag there. Probably not, but I can only hope. So that's the first game in the Wildcard Series on the National League side. The other one, which it's a shame Dan isn't here because it was quite funny what happened yesterday. The New York Mets, who had the best start in baseball, choked ultimately and gave up the final wildcard spot to the Cincinnati Reds. And I think they swept the Brewers or beat the Brewers 2-1 to get that. So instead of the Mets facing the Dodgers, which we all kind of had down in the last week after the Giants decided to choke, it's now the Reds are going to Los Angeles. So, Cal, who have you got winning this one? I know it's on the Instagram, but for those people that don't view the Instagram.
What, Dodgers Reds?
Yeah.
It's the Dodgers. The Reds are going to make it tricky for them, but ultimately it's going to be a tough game in which the Dodgers put up 8 kind of thing, where it looks closer than it is, but they're just too good. The Reds pitching, like we said, has been phenomenal, but I just don't think they'll have the run support to back it up.
Yeah, I think it's similar to the Cubs Padres. I think the bullpen and the rotation. Well, maybe not so much the bullpen, but because Tanner Scott exists as a human being, but I think the rotation that could go for the Reg, you've got Andrew Abbott, who I think pitched recently, so he's probably going to be a game 3 starter. It's been announced that Hunter Green's going to be a game 1 starter, and Brady Singer or Nick Lodolo, probably Lodolo, could go in game 2. That's a strong rotation.
Yeah.
Abbott's got a sub-3 ERA, Hunter Green's got a sub-3 ERA, Nick Lodolo's 3.33. Brady Singer's 4.03, so that's still good enough. They've got Nick Martinez, who's been in and out of the bullpen, and he's got a 4.5 ERA, which is quite good for someone who doesn't know what they're going to be doing. I'm a bit worried about their bullpen. I'm just looking at a list of names now. You've got Emilio Pagan, who's their closer, who 2.88 ERA, great. But you're playing a Dodgers team that will have Shohei Ohtani, it will have Freddie Freeman, it will have Mookie Betts, it will have Will Smith, it will have Teoscar Hernandez, it will have Max Muncy. That's just a formula.
You said it. You said Max Muncy.
Max Muncy. That I don't think they can overcome that. On the rotation side for the Dodgers, they've announced it. It's going to be Blake Snell going in game 1. It's going to be Yamamoto. It's going to be Yamamoto going in game 2.
Wanker.
And it's going to be, if a game 3 is needed, Shohei Ohtani is going to pitch in game 3. If not, he'll pitch in game 1 of the divisional series.
International supervillain. What a terrible trio.
But they are good, unfortunately.
Is Tyler Glass now injured then?
I don't know. They've just not announced him for the. I think with the way the stats have been going, I think Blake Snell and Yamamoto have been better anyway. I don't know if Glasnow's injured, but I think if you were going to pick only 3 starters, those would be your 3 regardless.
Yeah, I guess maybe if Glasnow's healthy, then maybe you'd want to start him over Shohei, just to kind of, limit the chances of something bad happening to him on the mound. Fucking anything can happen when you throw a ball at fucking 3,000 miles an hour. Things snap and pop and stuff. I think Shohei would be better to come in and throw like innings 5 to 7 in close game 3 if you need him. Otherwise, keep him fresh. You have the arms to be still better than the other guys. I don't think you need to, and it's not like he's gonna really suffer from not pitching, and then that'll massively affect his next performance. I think that, I don't know. Personally, I would start Glass now and have Ohtani kind of come in and shut things down if you need to.
I totally agree. I think you could go. Maybe they'll do that the other way. Maybe they'll go Glasnow. Maybe they'll go Ohtani for 4. Glasnow will come in and throw 3, and then it's up to whoever they want in their bullpen to ultimately fuck it up for him. Probably Tanner Scott, but what a signing that was. I haven't said it, but I've got the Dodgers winning this one as well. I think it will be tougher than it looks like on paper, but I just think that it's a bit up in the air who's going to be starting that game 2 for Cincinnati. I've just read an article whilst we've been chatting. So you got Hunter Green going in game 1, likely Andrew Abbott with the timings will go in game 3. Nick Lodolo pitched out the bullpen in game 2 in the game on Sunday, so he may not even be available. So
wow,
could be looking at Brady Singer, who can be beat. Hunter Green, I think, can be beat if you just wear him out with the pitch count. I know that's the same for most starters, but I've seen him in a couple of starts against the Cubs. He looks good, but you can get to him. If Hunter Green only goes 4 innings or less in that first game, Dodgers are winning it.
Yeah.
Maybe Ellie De La Cruz will turn up. So we've got.
He won't.
You never know. So both of us have the Dodgers beating the Reds. I've got the Cubs beating the Padres. Cal has the Padres beating the Cubs. So we'll have a nice war over that one. So we've got 2 little segments before we hit halftime. The first one, Cal, they're both relating to you. Would you like to do the fun one or the one you're not going to enjoy first?
Let's get the shit one out of the way.
Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, it's the Brit Does Baseball Does podcast curse. So it's not entirely Cal's fault, but this was actually requested by one of our fans. We're not very nice to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think that's fair to say. We're also not very nice to New York Yankees. But we had on this podcast 2 weeks ago that we both predicted that the Giants were going to win the last wildcard spot. What then proceeded to happen was 2 weeks of utter shit baseball. Is that fair to say?
It could have been worse, but not by much.
Yeah. So who they were? I mean, all our fans thought the Giants were going to do it as well. They thought the Mets were going to choke. The Mets did choke, just to the team that we didn't really give much attention to in the Cincinnati Reds. So, as whatever little penalty for us being very confident, and Cal in particular, Cal has been tasked with saying 3 nice things about the Los Angeles Dodgers. And just to caveat, they cannot be something like the Dodgers are a nice team or a good team. They have to be specific to people or the team in general. So over to you, Cal. Please give us your 3 compliments on the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, if I'm allowed to just compliment people, then this makes it a bit easier.
They have to be on the Dodgers staff. You cannot compliment Willie Adames for scoring a home run against the Dodgers.
I want to say thank you to Tyler Glasnow for completely imploding. No, okay. Well, I can find 3 people to be nice about. I'll start with Dave Roberts. I think he's a pretty good manager. I like that he sticks up for his guys. He seems to know what he's doing. I'd like him. I think he's all right. I think he's annoyingly doing a good job over there, and I like that he wears sunglasses quite a lot of the time. It looks pretty cool. Bastard.
Perfect. That's a great compliment.
Yeah, there you go, Dave. I've said it before. I think Mookie Betts is maybe one of the most likable people in baseball. He's fucking really good at his job. And he seems like a really nice person as well. I haven't spoken to anyone that's even heard stories of people having something bad to say about him. Seems like a nice guy. He does good things. Fine, great. Mookie Betts is pretty good. Fuck! I've got to pick a third. Do I have to do 3?
You have to do 3.
Tell
you what, you don't have to do 3 if you can guess who the request came from.
Is it Adam?
No, so you have to do your third one.
Oh, fuck. Can you tell me after anyway?
I will tell you after, yeah.
I've got revenge to plot. I don't know. I think it's quite impressive that for a man with no knees, Freddie Freeman gets as many doubles as he does.
Yeah, that counts. We'll take that as a compliment.
Counts, yeah.
Someone actually, let me just read out what someone commented when I put the story out saying, "Can Cal do it, or will Cal be like pussy out of it?" So you haven't pussied out of it, but the 3 that you could have said. Oh, by the way, it was Ty. Ty was the one that requested.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking course it was.
Ty was like, "Oh, Cal will know it's come from me," and I'm like, well, I don't think Cal will. And
well, thanks, Ty. Thanks for that. I really, really appreciate it.
That's been proven. What you could have said was, I'm sure he'll be delighted that the Giants won't have to face Clayton Kershaw anymore. That could be a compliment.
I don't care.
Okay. Michael Conforto can only hit against his old team.
I don't wish to speak about that prick.
And Shohei Ohtani has to be good at something.
Who?
Okay. Right. I've had my fun. Let's give Cal his fun. So going into the off season, we've had our last rounders roundup of the year, which has been it's my favorite series to do. But we need something to replace it, and we're going to be replacing it with a season review series where we're going to go into detail across all 30 MLB teams with a fan of that team. Just to let you know that when we do the Cubs, Giants, Mets, and Orioles, it won't just be me, Cal, or Dan spouting nonsense for half an hour. We will actually get a expert on, as opposed to just our expert views in inverted commas. But I thought we'd give you a little taster for that today, and because Cal's been a great sport with the Dodgers, we're just going to have a quick rundown of the Giants and kind of, just a quick overview of the season. So, Cal, over to you.
Well, I guess I'll leave a large part of the season for the actual review. Otherwise, it would just be repeating ourselves a lot. So I guess just the last couple of months, really, since July, since we traded for Devers, I turned 26, and everything went horribly, horribly wrong. there was good parts. We were good for periods, for about 3 weeks at a time, every 5 weeks. We were a pretty good baseball team. It was exciting to see Bryce Eldridge get called up. It was disheartening to see him not hit the ball. I think he got 2 hits. But it's cool. It's cool to see him getting the opportunity and getting the reps. You know, when the games mattered, but also I think Buster Posey and the Giants were not comfortable with the idea of not playing in October, but there's still very much a feeling of we're not massively rebuilding, but we're still on our way. As long as it's not a losing season, which it wasn't just by one game, then it's okay. It's not really a step forward, but it's not really a step back. So giving Bryce Eldridge and Drew Gilbert and some other guys like that a bit more of a chance, I think was really cool. Willie Adames broke the curse. He's the first Giant to hit 30 home runs since, world-renowned nice guy Barry Bonds did in 2004, which is ridiculous, by the way. That was 21 years ago. He last had a player hit 30. And, Devers did hit 35 this year, but only 20 of them were with the Giants, so that they don't count. I don't know. It was just nice seeing a team form again, like a player-led team, where you had at the start of the season Mike Yastrzemski and Logan Webb and Willie Adames and Matt Chapman kind of really rallying up the troops, and then that kind of fell away a little bit more to just Willie Adames, and Chapman and Webber were there and hanging out, but they weren't always smiling in the same way that Willie was. I don't know. There's not a lot to say apart from it is disappointing, but it's just the same feeling that it has been the last, since 2021, and then before 2021, the last like 6 years before that as well, where it's just we should have been better. I think looking forward to next season, there's big free agents that are on the market. Just a quick list in front of me. You got like Pete Alonso, who will not be joining the Giants. JT Real Muto, that could be interesting. Chris Bassett, Salvador Perez, Edwin Diaz, Carl Schwarber, Starling Marte. Got Jack Flaherty, Carl Tucker, Tyler O'Neill, Max Scherzer, and Justin Verlander somehow still able to throw balls. Ha-Sung Kim, who's Jung Hoo Lee's best friend, that's an interesting one. You got Lourdes Gurriel Jr., you got Zach Gallen, Dylan Cease, Zach Eflin, Shota Imanaga. There's a lot of really interesting free agents, of which the Giants will be going quite aggressively after, which they have done the last few seasons. It just hasn't really worked out. Willie Adames and Matt Chapman kind of being the big free agency names they brought in. I'm optimistic for Kyle Tucker, maybe Kyle Schwarber if we can find a place to put him. But I also think that we need to trade some guys away. I think that Elliot Ramos, we should kind of try get something in return and maybe put Jung Hoo Lee in left and Drew Gilbert at center field. I think that could be a lot more interesting, and I think that Drew Gilbert's a better center fielder than Jung Hoo Lee at this current moment. But yeah, I don't know. Bob Melvin, it's been confirmed today that he's been sacked. So, a lot of rumors about Bruce Bochy coming back, which is nostalgic and nice and interesting. And he won the World Series a couple years ago, but has failed to bring the Rangers back to the playoffs since they won the World Series. So, that feels like the lazy option. I don't know enough about who else could come in. And at this point, I don't really care. Just anyone. Fucking anyone. Who was the last guy? Big ripped dude that we had. I don't even remember his name. Fucking he played for the Marlins and the Phillies, and now he's a board member somewhere, unbelievably jacked. Anyway, not him. That's my list.
Gabe Kepler?
Yeah, Gabe Kapler. That's the one. Not him, not Bruce Bochy, as much as I love and appreciate him, and just anyone else. I don't care. Yeah, this season was not as bad as it could have been, but it just could have been definitely better. Losing Randy Rodriguez to Tommy John is not good. Ryan Walker being politely shite was not good. Camilo Doval being so bad that we've traded him away is not good. I don't know. It was a very strange one where when we were good, we were unbeatable and we were fantastic, and when we were shit, I think the Bracknell Pyros could have given them a really, really close game. There's a lot of positions that you kind of got to look at. You know, does Christian Koss and Casey Schmidt keep down the second base platoon, and kind of seems like Tyler Fitzgerald's out of question. You got Marco Luciano. Does he come up? You got like, what do we do with the outfield and Luis Matos and Drew Gilbert and Jung Hoo Lee? Like, do you get rid of Jung Hoo Lee? Do you try trade him away? He's on a big contract and he's underperformed for quite a lot of this year. And there's a lot of really big questions, and I'm really grateful that I'm not Buster Posey for the first time ever, and maybe going forward as well. I think this is going to be a really big and crucial offseason in which we'll go really hard after people. We won't get anybody, and it'll be more of the same next year, but that's all right. So yeah, largely underwhelming and disappointing, but I don't think anyone's shocked.
Very beautifully put. And as mentioned, we'll be having, I think the Giants one might be one of the episodes we're going to line up for release first, just because I think Cal and our special guest can talk for hours on it. So you might not even hear my voice. As in, I may not even be on the recording. I might just wait for it to come out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube and anywhere where you can catch a Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. Thanks, Cal, for that rundown of the Giants' little teaser for the series. As you said, Buster Posey has not got a very enviable position at the moment, but I think it's looking up for you. And you guys did always beat the Cubs quite handedly, so fuck you for that. That's going to wrap up the first half. I'm going to perform a Brit Does Baseball Does podcast first ever magic trick, but I'll reveal that after the halftime. So for now, we will see you in a bit. Hi there, welcome back to a Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. The magic trick, for those of you that aren't watching on video, is I've made Cal disappear and instead replace him with Dan. Dan, how are you doing?
Good. A wild Dan has appeared.
Yeah, preluding to something for a bit, spoiler a bit later. We're carrying on with our wildcard preview episode. We've done the National League. We've spoken in depth about the two matchups, the Cubs and Padres and the Dodgers and Reds. And we're going to be covering the American League. But before then, just, as we did with Cal when he went through the Giants for about a 10-minute monologue, I think it worked out being. We're going to have a similar sort of vibe with Dan. So that, we all know that Dan supports two teams. We've got the New York Mets and the Baltimore Orioles. Neither team made it into the postseason. The Mets heartbreakingly losing to the Marlins on the last day, the last series, which cost them to the Reds. So pretty similar, we're going to be going through this much more in depth in the season review series that we still need to think of a name from. But Dan, the New York Mets this season, how do you feel overall?
I mean, I think the word every Mets fan right now is disappointment, right? You're disappointed, but it's nothing we're not used to. The Mets are going to Mets. For anyone listening who has been a Mets fan for a while, we've been here before. Unfortunately, we'll probably be here again. To lose in this fashion, considering how hot we were halfway through the season, there's only one team could do this in my eyes, and it is the Mets. Maybe someday we'll look back and laugh, but I think this is one of those seasons, 2025, that Mets fans are gonna it's gonna sting a little bit in the heart. To go out like this, to lose in that fashion, just complete train wreck, try to get it together in the end, almost kind of get it together in the end, and then beat the Cubs, right? We beat the Cubs, and that's the second game, the final game of that series. We're looking, maybe okay. We're a game up of the Reds at that point. Get our asses kicked by the Marlins. Well, the Reds can just win. I think they only won 2 out of their 3 games, but it was enough because we suck and we blew it, right? No one beat us. We beat ourselves. I mean, it takes me back to some of these Mets teams of old, right? What year was that? I don't even want to get it too far into it, but 2009, 2010, I believe, when we get into a playoff, a 1-game playoff versus the Brewers, I believe, and just absolutely – it comes down to the last pitch, and Ryan Church, I remember, almost hits a home run. It's a pop fly to center field. We're down 1 run, but he crushes it to center field, and I think we're going to fucking make it. And I was like, oh, no, we're out. And I'm like, man, he almost hit that. Some other Mets fan took me aside. He was like, dude, that was the last pitch of an absolute train wreck of a season where they barely almost squeaked in the playoffs. Like, we didn't deserve it. We blew that, 10 games ago. And ever since then, I get that perspective of that older Mets fan. Like, look, if this season for you as a Mets fan was too much and you got to hang it up, I understand. But then you're not built to be a Mets fan because there will be more disappointment. We had, the second highest payroll in baseball, I believe. They didn't make the playoffs. That is a bad investment. That is not right. That is how you lose money. I think I talked enough about the negative. The positive, Stevie Cohen is still going to spend. He's committed to the fans. We still have Juan Soto. We still have Frankie Lindor. Notice I'm not saying another guy who currently will be a free agent, and that is Pete Alonso, who I don't blame for opting out of his contract. And unless he joins the Orioles, I probably won't be too happy with him joining a new team. Even the Orioles, that'd be a weird one. I don't know about the future of the Mets. I do think we have a strong enough core that we will be okay and competitive. I would like to see, like everyone else, more pitching. But right now, I think it's still pretty raw in a lot of Mets fans' hearts. I don't think they even want to think about 2026 right now.
That's fair. So just to rub it in even further, I'll just make a couple of comments on that. You were Cal for the first half. So one of Cal's hot takes was that Pete Alonso got signs with the Yankees. How would that make you feel?
No. That would make me feel some type of way. That would be a shame to have to burn a Pete Alonso jersey, a nice stitched Pete Alonso jersey. That can't happen. He would look terrible in pinstripes. He'd look okay. But you know what? If they offered him the most money, I couldn't say I'd really blame him from a right, taking the Mets hat off, right? Yeah. From a personal, perspective, I would get it. That would be replace Goldschmidt with Pete. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I mean, we agreed that we could see the fit there, with Goldschmidt being 47, Ben Rice probably being more of a catcher in the future. So there's definitely a fit there. But for someone who supposedly loves the Mets as much as Pete Alonso says he does, it would be a major shock. The whole weekend was just funny because, the Reds own the tiebreaker. So you did beat the Marlins once, but it was just like the Marlins pushed back Alcantara. You had to face Alcantara, you had to face Edwin Cabrera. And the last name's going to basically their 3 best starters. And the way they celebrated after the final game was just hilarious. Like taking a team photo in front of the dugout. You'd have thought that they'd just they just got to the playoffs themselves, but no, they're just celebrating, mugging off the Mets, which was great to see from a shithousery point of view. But I think
Keith and them were getting, not to be cut you off, but Keith and then the Mets announcers were getting mad, and I was kind of like, okay, well then don't lose. Like I don't get it, right? If you don't want them doing it, well then just beat them.
Yes, it's self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. But yeah, I think the Mets, I mean, on the positional side, you're not going to have an issue next year. Yes, you do need to fill the Pete Alonso gap, but you've got enough there to work with. I think it's on the starting pitching side. I think at the start of the year it was fantastic. But then you come to the end, and obviously Kodai Senga wasn't even with the Mets. Peterson regressed hard.
Yeah, you were maybe right about that. I tried to cut you off from every one episode. I'm like, nah, Peterson's all right. He was not all right, in fact.
He'd thrown too many innings, a bit like Matthew Boyd, but just didn't get hit with the regression stick that hard. But Jonah Tong, yeah, he got batted around a bit, but there's obviously a pitcher there. It's tough to come in at the end of the year. You got the Sproat goat, Brandon Sproat. and probably the most impressive one is Nolan McLean. So
that's right, Oklahoma State quarterback.
You've got there's good potential there. But
oh yeah,
enough about the Mets. That's our National League wrapped up. But you do have a second team. And before we get into the wildcard matchups, we'll do the same as we did with the Mets and the Giants. The Orioles had a bit of a poor season in the end. Not really much on the pitching side. The positional side wasn't too much better. You've got a few prospects coming through, but similar sort of question. How do you feel, cliff notes from a season as an Orioles fan? How do you feel?
It's funny with the Mets and the Orioles. I kind of got the worst of both, right? The Orioles started terrible and kind of actually got a little better as they went along. And actually, towards the end of the year, when they called up the likes of Samuel Basallo and Dylan Beavers, and let's not forget Jeremiah McHitz, they were winning games. They were a fun baseball team to watch. So actually, the second half of the Orioles, I enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm a little biased as a Norfolk Tides fan, so I could be like, "I told you so." I knew that Dylan Beavers is special. The 6'5" guy who can hit for power, bat 300 and speed. Right? Anybody could see it, but it was super cool to see those guys kind of break out in the way they did. I think Beavers probably had the best season out of the prospects. Basallo turned it on kind of at late, and then Kobe really struggled. But I thought Kobe Mayo there knocked in some decent home runs, got that batting average. He was at like 190 a month ago, and he finished like 217. So statistically, he actually had a great sort of second half there of September. I'd like to see all those guys in the future. Mountcastle played well in moments. He did have a lot of injuries, and I'm not sure of his future on the team. So that was the last I got to see of Ryan Mountcastle. I'm a little sad, but so be it. We lost some key, I think, Orioles in Cedric Mullins, who the writing was kind of on the wall. It probably was time for him to move on, and it did not go well with him on the Mets. I really wanted that to work. Right as an Orioles and Mets fan, I was like, sweet. And then I'm just like defending him on every subreddit. Like, no, Mullins guy is good. And every Mets fan, like Mets fans, is like, this guy sucks. So that was tough. I hope there's still a future for Cedric in MLB. I think another team will give him a shot, whether it's, one of those prove-it deals in spring training, we will see. Gregory Soto, also going from the Orioles to the Mets. Not one of the biggest bullpen pieces, but a good bullpen piece nonetheless. Another one to touch on, I guess, is the destruction of Yennier Cano. He really lost it this year. I do hope he can get it back because, as we all know, Batista threw out his shoulder again. And it could be that he's done pitching as an Oriole. Overall, tough season for the O's. You like all the prospects we have, but with that, you start to think about the future. And is Gunnar Henderson with Scott Boras as an agent going to be here very long? Is Adley Rutschman, who has yet to get a deal, and Samuel Basallo's replacement has already gotten a deal? 2 more years in arbitration. I'm not sure I see Adley here for 2 more years. I think this team will be interesting. I'm not as confident as I was saying we're going to win the World Series in 2026. Mike Elias seems to have a 2030 plan. So similar to my last statement on the Mets. Any O's fans out there, I'd strap in. I think it's going to be another rough one next year, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on the O's, I'll give a shout out to Trevor Rogers.
How could I forget?
Yeah, fantastic. Like 1.5 ERA, sub
1.81. He had his worst start of the year, the last start. Got smacked around by the Yankees. But with that, still they were comparing his season to, I think, 1954 Bob Gibson or something like that. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So shout out to Trevor Rogers, Marlins legend.
Tides legend.
Ones who beat the Mets. It's been a bit of a weird season. Again, we discussed in the first half. We discussed kind of like Ellie De La Cruz kind of just going missing. And it seemed like Gunnar Henderson did that to a lesser extent. Kind of found it in the second half.
But the power's not there that it used to be. So that I'm hoping that returns next year. But I don't know.
Yeah. Would you like to see Cedric Mullins back on the Orioles next year?
I think it's I think with Cowser, now Beavers, I don't know about the future of Heston Kjerstad, to be honest. I would love to see that guy back, but I'm not sure he plays in the outfield. Tyler O'Neill. Now you got Jeremiah Jackson possibly playing in the outfield. It's just one of those. I like Judd Fabian. I like Enrique Bradfield, some of these young prospects. I love Cedric. I want him to work on a team, but I don't think it's this team. I think he's not going to get the at-bats. He needs a team that's going to trust him every day. That's why I think the platoon thing didn't really work in the Mets. He's got to get used to his ballpark, and I think when he does, he's legitimately one of the best defensive center fielders in the game still. Even though the speed might be dropping a little bit, I mean, that guy has excellent reactions and one of the best home run robberies of all times. If you guys look at his YouTube highlights, it's actually insane. I could see Cedric. I know it might sound like I'm joking or something, but legitimately, like him on like the White Sox or like the Rockies, give him not a huge deal, but a couple years, a little bit of security, and just watch him ball out.
So yeah, I like him for the Twins. That's instantly where my mind went because
I'd like that.
I don't know. I just think I don't think he's that level of needs to go to the Rockies or the White Sox just yet. I think Twins who are probably going to be bad, but not very bad. Saying that, I'm actually quite high on the White Sox next year. Not to a playoff content, but not bottom of the AL Central.
But no, that's another team that needs. I get like a veteran presence in Cedric, and then like I said, value. There's going to be value there, I think, because I don't expect a lot of teams to be calling. No offense, but I think it will be probably 5 to 7 teams.
Yeah, so he'll end up playing in Korea. So that wraps up our little review of the Mets and the Orioles. The reason we kind of did that first is because the AL. It's safe to say the AL were not as well versed than the National League as a podcast. I think Dan's probably our best expert on the American League with the Orioles, but
we're definitely not.
Yeah, as we've discussed, they're kind of nowhere near the playoffs. So we've got 2 wildcard matchups in the American League. The one that everybody's talking about, the biggest matchup across. I don't think you can get a bigger playoff matchup than this, and that's the Detroit Tigers versus the Cleveland Guardians in the early American League playoff wildcard window. Just looking at our predictions, I had the Guardians taking that one, and I'm just going to double check who Dan had because
I had Guardians.
We both had the Guardians. So why are the Guardians over the Tigers, Dan?
Tigers. I was so high on them in the beginning of the year, and actually my bet is already cooked now. But I had Tigers and the Mets in the World Series, so that shows you how big of an idiot I am. No, I'm just kidding. I thought that was a good bet at the beginning of the year, and it looked pretty good halfway through the year. Mets already let me down, and the Tigers kind of had a same slippery slope there. Whoever's going to win the World Series, you got to get hot at the right time, and the Guardians got hot. They're getting hot, I mean, at literally the right time. I think they're a team to watch here, and I do think they take care of the Tigers pretty handily. Jose Ramirez, I mean, he's made for these moments. I cannot wait to watch him in the playoffs.
Yeah, I had the Guardians as well. I just think you let a 15.5 game lead slip. Probably one of the biggest chokes of the season, as long as your name's not the New York Mets. Probably the biggest choke, to be fair. Because I think just how like the Tigers were just cruising the whole year. And then the Guardians got hot and the Tigers did not. And they've just played each other and the Guardians beat them. It's tough. Momentum is on the Guardian side. I look at the rotations on the Tigers side. I mean, you've got Tariq Skubal, who's AL Cy Young. But then under that, you've got Jack Flaherty and Casey Myers. I don't know how effective Jack.
He's not. I'll tell you his effectiveness level is minimum. And maybe I am a little biased. Also, Detroit, when you need pitching help and you go and you need reinforcements, right? Look at it like an army. Like you go out, your reinforcements are Charlie Morton. You're losing that battle, right? Like that's not going to do it.
Yeah, it's not been great. I mean, the Guardians side, they don't really have any big names. They've just got solid starters.
Right.
They've got
Bieber,
Gavin Williams, Logan Allen, and Joey Cantillo. Obviously, only 3 of them can go in the wild card, but they've got a sneaky, very, very good rotation. I mean, Bibby's a bit of a name, but there's nothing major there.
No.
Gavin Williams, big rig again, a name, not a household name.
I have a question. Do you think Emmanuel Clase will be betting on these games?
I think they'll bring him back for the championship. I think he's coming back.
You think he's good? He'll be cleared?
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine by this time. We're recording it, as I said, we're recording this on the Monday. He'll be fine by Tuesday. Tuesday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock UK time.
Doubt. That's a hard doubt for me.
Yeah.
Press X to doubt.
It's a bit. I mean, for me, it's going to sound a bit harsh. It's a bit of a nothing matchup because I think whoever goes through, I would prefer the Tigers, but I think the Guardians, they're going to come up against the Mariners more than likely, and I just think the Mariners are going to destroy either of those teams.
They're hot.
And
Mariners are a hot team.
It's not that I think. I also hope it happens as well because I think the Mariners fans have had.
Is Harry Ford still on the roster?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. I like the Mariners anyway. Good rotation, but we'll talk about that in our divisional series where the Mariners will be.
That's right.
Anyway, on the other side, kind of like a bit of a lesser well-known matchup. It's the New York Yankees versus the Boston Red Sox. Never heard of that as a division rivalry or World Series rivalry or any of the above. I think out of the 4 games, definitely the smallest one. Obviously, I kid. It's probably the biggest matchup of the Wildcard Round.
Bit of history there.
Yeah, just a tad. So Cal had the Yankees beating the Red Sox, which I think is the smart money. But me and you both backed the Red Sox. Now, I back the Red Sox because it's more of what I want to happen. I would love the Red Sox to get one over on the Yankees. And I think they deserve it. I think the Red Sox have had 2 years of kind of like mediocrity. They finished 81 and 81 2 years in a row. And I really like their team. I think they were my pick to win the AL East. Obviously, that turned to shite. But I really like them as a team. And I'm looking at their rotation. Garrett Crochet, second in the AL Cy Young voting. I think that's fair. And they've got Brian Bayo. Lucas Giolito, they do have on this article.
He's out.
He is out of it. So I don't know who's going to take game 3. But I think Garrett Crochet can win his matchup. And
he should.
Brian Bayo's been more solid than you'd think.
Yeah, that's gonna. It's honestly, I'm glad you said it because like when I was running through it in my head too. I mean, I picked the Red Sox, maybe a little bit with my heart, maybe not as much with my brain, but Giolito's out, Roman Anthony's out. It's tough. The Yankees roster, despite how bad their pitching is, they're positionally they're loaded. You can get game 1. I think you can sneak off game 1 with Crochet. Brian's gonna have to pitch a game of his life, game 2. I mean, because I think once it comes around to games 3, 4, like you're gonna have to hope that you can sneak 2 games before, and not the game 3. Your pitching is not as deep as the Yankees, but then again, they're not very deep either. I think the key here is that I'm going to say it wrong again, but old Schittler, that guy can pitch. I was wrong again about him. Yankees are kind of the more hot team. However, to me, the Red Sox shouldn't be here. So maybe we'll just throw it to the wall. They'll be playing free and loose. And that's what I'm betting on. Not actually figuratively, but not literally, but figuratively for our picks. I got Red Sox over the Yankees. It'll be close, though.
Yeah, I think the key one is that Brian Bayo matchup. If he pitches really well as he can do, he's not terrible. The Red Sox will sweep because I can't see them beating Crochet in one game. But if Bayo lays an egg, which is more than likely because it's that happened in the past, you're looking at maybe Peyton Toll taking the rubber for the 3rd start, which is good, but I'm just looking at their depth chart, and with Giolito out, Dustin May's out, Tanner Houck's been out, and Carter Crawford are both out for the year.
What is Rich Hill doing?
I think he's waiting by the phone.
Come make the call, Boston. It's not too late. There's still time.
I'm looking at the positional side, and without Roman Anthony, it's a little bit weak. I mean, the catcher position has been weak.
You still have Abreu though in the outfield. You got Duran, and then Rafaela's been hot. I mean, that's not terrible.
Story's been hot. Bregman's been good. Masataka Yoshida's turned up with a bat the last few games.
You got rid of the Mr. Strikeout, Rafi Devers.
Yeah. I mean, on the Yankees side, though, their rotation, on the face of it, Max Fried, good starter.
So good.
Carlos Rodon, good starter.
He's so good.
Cam Schittler, rookie
He's
good.
unfortunately very good.
And they've just got a young name, a guy going by the name of Lewis Hill as their fourth starter, listed on this article. So if they can call him
Rookie
out,
of the year fraud. But anyway,
yeah, still a good player. But like if they're going to go Freedom Rodon as 1 and 2, which is more than likely in whatever order, if you're going Chitler and Gill, in game 3, one piggybacking off of the other, it's a lot stronger than the Red Sox rotation.
Boston's got to win game 1. They have to.
Yeah, if they don't, they're not going to win game 2. I think it's all about momentum. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up for the wild card roundup. So yeah, we've got 4 games. We've got the Yankees, Red Sox, we've got the Guardians, Tigers, we've got the Cubs, Padres, and we've got the Reds and the Dodgers. I'm just going to pull up the timings just for our UK fans. Whilst we do that, just do you think any of these teams in the wild card? You've got the Blue Jays, the Mariners, the Brewers, and the Phillies are waiting in the divisional round. Do you think any of these wild card teams can make a real run at the World Series, or do you think it's more likely the winner comes from the divisional teams?
I think now with the wild card expanded, I mean, we saw with the Texas Rangers. I think there is a real. It's not like it used to be. Excuse me. Also, I think maybe not ring rust, right? But they do these simulated games for a reason because they want to try to stay hot. I think that there's the week off, whatever it is, 5 days off, can really affect some of those players depending. It's a long season, and then it's almost like then you stop and then you try to get it going again. Sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, at least it didn't for the Orioles because they stunk it up both times they won the division. You got the Dodgers and the Reds there, and then I'm going to look at the NL side. AL, I don't know so much. I think if a Cleveland, a Boston, a Yankees, they got hot, maybe. But from the NL side, any 4 of these teams could totally make a run. I think it's going to be an exciting playoffs. God forbid the Dodgers do it. I don't think I need to talk about them. Cincinnati, I mean, if Ellie plays like Ellie has all 5 tools. The problem is he only uses 2 of them at a time. If he's using all 5, watch out, okay? And it's going to happen, I think, sooner rather than later. Maybe not this year, next year, but hey, we don't need to talk about the Cubs. We saw how good they were at the beginning of the year. That Padres-Cubs, I think that's going to be the matchup to watch. Sorry, Gary. I mean, I did take Padres, but that's going to be a bloodbath, I think. I mean, it could end in I could see the benches clearing in Cubs-Padres.
Yeah, that's the game I'm looking forward to the most. Not just as a Cubs fan. I just think of the 4 matchups, they are the teams that are most equal ability-wise, and I think they would show that. I think, Cincinnati snuck in. Dodgers are heavy favorites. Detroit, Cleveland, who cares realistically, unless you're an AL Central fan, in the nicest possible terms. Boston Yankees, I think, that's just a good matchup based on who the teams are. But I think if you like pure how baseball plays, Padres Cubs all day long.
So much offense.
Yeah. I'll give you the timings quickly. Detroit, Cleveland go at. I'll give you the Eastern. I'll give you British Standard Time. So we are 5 hours ahead. So Detroit and Cleveland are your matchup at 6:08 in the evening, followed by the Padres and the Cubs at 8:08. At 11:08 p.m., you've got the Yankees and the Red Sox, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, or 8 minutes past 2 in the morning, you've got the Cincinnati Reds at the Los Angeles Dodgers. What that means at Eastern Time is you've got 1:08 for Detroit, Cleveland, 3:08 p.m. for Padres, Cubs, Red Sox, Yankees at 6:08, so prime time, and Reds, Dodgers at 9:08. If you're in any other time zone, do the math yourself. It's almost midnight here, and I'm tired. Good matchups. All games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. ESPN have got the Detroit game, the Red Sox and the Yankees, and the Reds, Dodgers. ABC, which I thought was an alphabet, but turns out is a TV channel, has the Padres and the Cubs. But if you're in the UK, you can get them all on MLB Network. So no.
We'll talk about how terrible the commentating is going to be for those ESPN series, but that's for another episode.
Yeah, we can. We've got enough time in the off season. We can talk to the cows come home on that one. I do like their strike zone. I don't remember if it's them or Fox, where they don't really have the lines. It's just a slightly different color.
Yeah, I don't hate that either because then it shows kind of how hard it is, and people are like, "Oh, I don't know if that's a ball or a strike." Like, yeah, that little zone the little square on this TV makes it easier, huh?
Yeah, Anyway, that wraps up our wildcard preview. We're gonna end with start bench cut. I've been very gracious and done both start bench cuts because Dan had a hard day at work, but hopefully his boss isn't listening to this. But if you are, you need to let Dan come back early so all three of us can be in the podcast together.
We're editing that out. Don't worry. No, I'm just kidding.
If you are listening to this, then give Dan a raise. So, as always, start bench cut, 3 options. Got a start one, got a bench one, got a cut one. Got baseball and non-baseball related. My baseball one, I've gone for 3 current Met, probably the cornerstones of the Mets franchise this season. I'd say and beyond, but one of them has opted out of his deal. So currently, would you start, bench or cut Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, or Juan Soto?
Cut Juan Soto. Start Francisco Lindor, bench Pete Alonso. Juan Soto actually had a fine year. I mean, he was good. He was great. You honestly can't complain. Lindor does it all offensively and defensively. He's a great leader. I've never questioned that guy's work ethic, his love for the game, his love for the Mets. He's here for the rest of his career, and he wants to win. Bench Pete, he might be leaving. Kind of tough, but all of his time here, he's shown he's nothing but Mets. We should have paid him when we had the chance last year on a long-term deal, whatever. Cut Juan, newest addition to the Mets, doesn't quite have my heart yet. Also, I watched this guy play for the Yankees and the fucking Padres and the Nats. Like, I just don't. I watched him beat up on the Mets a lot. Yeah, that's an easy cut, to be honest with you.
That's fair. Normally, I'd give my opinion, but I'll do it anyway. I'm going to start Pete Alonso. Am I going to start Pete Alonso? I'm looking at the names. No, I think I'm going to agree with you. I think I'm going to start Francisco Lindor. He just seems to be vibes and Mets through and through. I know he was Guardians for a long time, or Indians at the time, but he's a good player. I can't take it away from him. Bench Pete Alonso. I think Pete Alonso is criminally underrated defensively. No one really talks about it. They just care about the power hitting.
Yeah, you're right. He's great for his face.
Yeah, I don't think he'll win a Gold Glove, but he's got to be top 5 in MLB.
It's so hard to win a Gold Glove at first base.
I would love to try, but I'm going to cut Juan Soto. Just kidding about the money. I think if you offered him the same contract that he's got now to go play at the Colorado Rockies or the White Sox, exactly the same money, he'd probably take it.
If the Wing Dong Tigers gave him $5 more, he would have gone there.
Yeah, I think he's a mercenary at this point. Hasn't really, well, like I said before, it was before my time when he was at the Nationals. But
he was great at the Nationals. He was fun.
Yeah. But if you cared about the Nationals, you'd have taken that contract. But I get why he didn't.
Yeah, honestly, thank God he didn't take that $100 million contract.
Yeah. So that's the baseball one. Our non-baseball one, we discussed a little bit before we came on the air. Pokemon. And for those of you that don't listen to Pokemon, thank you for listening. We will catch you next time on the Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. But for those of you that do know Pokemon, start bench cut. It's an age-old question. It's going to be the Gen 1 starters. It's going to be Squirtle. It's going to be Charmander. It's going to be Bulbasaur. Who are you starting?
Squirtle. I've gone back and forth on this. It's very tough for me. But Blastoise is just the coolest shit ever. I know everyone loves the Charizard, but the Squirtle is something just blue's my color. I like blue. I like green. Squirtle's got it. Actually, I found it my Pokemon or my Game Boy Blue Pokemon. I just need to get a Game Boy again, but I still have the little cartridge. So I need to fire that up. I can't wait. I've been lugging around now for like 7 years. Just like one day I'll play this. Bench, I'm gonna go with the fire. Like I said, I love Charizard. Once you get to that evolution, and even working up Charmander, they're awesome. And then cut the green, the leaf, the Blastoise, or not Blastoise. I'm sorry, Bulbasaur, right?
That's how much you don't like him.
Yeah, cut Bulbasaur. Those were cool, but anytime I chose that as my starter, I ended up just regretting it. But then I was already too far gone that I didn't want to start over, and I just kept doing it and just regretting it. And yeah, I learned very quickly. Leaf's not my type. You just get destroyed by fire. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I know that fire gets destroyed by water and vice versa. Water gets destroyed by grass, but it's what it is. I'm gonna start Charmander. I'm every Pokemon. I always find the fire type being the coolest across all generations. Maybe with the exception of Gem 3 when you have Swampert playing Blaziken, and at this point we're getting proper nerdy into Pokemon.
Oh, you really know your
I
Pokemon.
know my Pokemon. Yeah, I've played every gen. I can't remember half the names of them, but the latest one I think is like a fire crocodile, like an alligator, and it's also a ghost. So it's just fucking lit. But yeah, Charizard for me was my OG starter. My OG starter was Gen 2. Played Pokemon Gold. That was my first ever Pokemon game I played. I then went back and played. I think it was Fire Red and Leaf Green by the time it kind of got. Anyway, I'm digressing. I played my Pokemon for another hour, which we could do, but maybe on a different podcast. So I'm starting Charmander. I'm going to bench Squirtle. More of a childhood memory, just like Squirtle squad on fucking Pokemon, like when they're all in sunglasses and all the memes. Blastoise solid starter. I've never actually picked Bulbasaur. Maybe once, and I've done so many playthroughs.
It sucks so hard, dude.
Yeah, so I'm going to cut Bulbasaur. As far as grass starters go, he's one of the better ones. You know,
No, it's cute looking. I like the Bulbasaur like a card and stuff. It's cool, but yeah, I mean, dude, I made that mistake. Ugh, it's terrible.
I mean, it's all about. I mean, we say it's starting with Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. Realistically, it's when they go to their third evolution. You know, do you want a Charizard? Do you want a Blastoise? Or do you want do you want a fire-breathing dragon? Do you want a hard as fuck turtle? Or do you want a garden? So
yeah, I mean,
it's where I'm at.
I don't know. I always just remember I would just get stuck with, was it Topica, just a little egg thing.
Togepi.
Togepi. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they only made Togepi good like way later on.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why am I holding this thing around?
Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for a Brit Does Pokemon Does podcast. Gaz has been Gaz, Dan has been Dan, Cal has been Cal, and is probably asleep by now. That's what I get for drawing a short straw. You've been fabulous. We will catch you for the next episode, which will be a divisional round preview. I'm very tired. I want to go play Pokemon. Thank you and good night.